never saw the ocean till I was close in reach now. Shenandoah, I long to see it. Hey, Golden River, oh, Shenandoah, I long to see it. Hey, 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 only you ever gonna make things right. Only you ever gonna make things right. Only you ever gonna make things right. I'm going back to San Angelo. Ground is hard and the ground is dry. I'm gonna get my fill somehow. Rivers of corn and wheat and rye. Shenandoah, I long to see it. Hey, Golden River, Shenandoah, I long to see it. Hey, hey, only you ever gonna make things right. Only you ever gonna make things right. Only you ever gonna make things right. Red River Valley, will she remember all the things we said? What's the chance she'll remember all those nights in the river? Shenandoah, I long to see it. Hey, Golden River, oh, Shenandoah, long to see you. Hey, 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 only you ever gonna make things right. Only you ever gonna make things right. Only you ever gonna make things right. Shenandoah, long to see you. Hey, Golden River, Shenandoah, long to see you. Hey, only you're ever gonna make things right. Only you're ever gonna make things right. Only you're ever gonna make things right. Ever gonna make things right. Only you're ever gonna things right. Only you're ever gonna make things right. What we need here are any questions about how this system works. Now I gotta, before we get into questions, I got to apologize for the fact that all guitars are different, and therefore it's going to take a little bit of. You can see that this is a fairly complicated arrangement here. We've done that so that we can get 48 volts to the microphone that's in here, which is a particularly swell microphone, but you don't need anything. What we found is you don't need a microphone that good to get the guitar sounding really pretty spectacular. Now, you know, questions?
Does it work for just acoustic or electric and acoustic?
Well, I guess it probably would work for an electric guitar, but I can't imagine what, you know, I haven't even tried that, because really it does work, I guess, and you can probably get it. I haven't really even plugged in the whole idea behind this was to get an acoustic guitar sounding like an acoustic guitar, only big and loud, so that I could play it with a big loud band. And we got there. I would imagine you can get all kinds of Halloween effects with an electric guitar through this. I just haven't gotten there yet. This is, you know, we've been back and forth with David here. Michael and I and David have been back and forth a fair bit, trying to get this system out. And in probably by next year, about this time, we'll have a dumbed down version of this and I would imagine what we're going to do is find a company that makes microphones that'll make, you know, the exact right microphone for this application. But we have to go through a whole bunch of them. Right now, this is you know, like has been pointed out to me, Tesla, when they came out with the Model S, when they first made that offering, you could only get the real swell Model S's with all the bells and whistles, and that's what this box is. And to your question, the stuff that you can do with an electric guitar on this, which I haven't, like I say, I haven't gotten to yet, but I would imagine it's going to be pretty spectacular, the stuff you can get out of it. You probably won't be able to do that with this. We'll probably come up with a kit that will have a microphone and you know, we might even come up with something that you can put in right here, insert right here into the hole that they happily furnish you with, and it'll, you know, have all your controls right up here. But for right now, this is what I humbly offer. At least to my ears, the best acoustic guitar sound you can get. To the point where I made a record, that last tune I did, I made a record a couple of years back that I did the whole record on a little. I wrote and recorded the whole record on this little Martin that I have. That's a swell little Martin. It's a 0017. It's a little mahogany, and it's just, you know, a soulful, throaty little It's a wonderful guitar, a saddle guitar, and I've been able to play that with big loud bands, and it sounds like well, you can get it sounding like itself, or you can get it sounding like a much bigger guitar. You just crank the low end a little bit, and it's right there on that knob there, and you can get it sounding big and boomy, and which will earn you the everlasting enmity of your bass player. But questions?
I had a question. On the site, it talked about the flat response, and then they talk about the shifting in between the two pickups.
Yeah.
What is it that gets rid of the feedback? Is it a combination of the two?
What gets rid of the feedback? I mean, if you turn this up horrendously loud, it will feed back. But I haven't had that problem with Dead & Company. So, if you're playing with a bass player like Phil Lesh, you're probably gonna have to goose it to the point where it's going to start to give you some stuff to think about. But at normal volume levels, it just doesn't. What happened? The way we got rid of all the feedback is microphones. There's a tiny little diaphragm. The lighter, the better. So that it can move with sound waves. But unfortunately, it does move with sound waves in a microphone, and that that's where your feedback comes from. If a microphone is feeding back, it's always feeding back on a fairly low note. It's never feeding back, up there. Or when it feeds back up there, then you're in trouble. And really, if you're playing with a louder band, you probably need to get a sound hole cover to keep those frequencies out, because those frequencies the microphone is hearing, and the microphone's hearing everything the guitar puts out, but it's only delivering after that box. It's only delivering the crispies up top. Crispies up top. I'm about done here.
Do you have to have your guitar modified at this point in time to be able to use that?
You're going to have your guitar modified a little bit, maybe not. Sometimes you're going to have to go through a bit of a procedure to get unless the microphone or the guitar has a microphone in it, you got to put a microphone in it.
But you can use the single source mode with any guitar. Any guitar has a piezo.
Are you going to have a single source one?
It's right on there now. So what it does is it just says, okay, no microphone in the equation. It splits the piezo into high and low, and you still get the feedback resistant properties and a much richer sound. It's not the same three-dimensionality of having a nice microphone picking up the air moving inside. However, it was important to accommodate people that had all these single sources. But if you want the full enchilada,
If it's going to sound better.
then you put it in.
Why do you have two here now?
That was my guitar.
Oh, okay. I saw two of them here. I thought you had them both plugged into this.
And they have a tech on site here who can do the installation.
There you go.
You know what?
Teresa.
Excuse me. If you were to put a microphone in, what brand would you suggest?
Well, now that's
What brand?
Which microphone brand?
Yeah.
It's really to taste. What's your budget?
that's determining.
That's like a bottle of wine. You can have a $100 bottle of wine and a $10 bottle of wine.
That's right. Neither one will get you drunk. Right.
Well, and to that point, we've got a real expensive little Lavo Omni mic. I think you want an Omni mic, an omnidirectional microphone in here. You want a little one, but what we're finding is that it doesn't have to be a great mic, because most microphones most condenser microphones get pretty good high end, and that's all you're taking out of the. That's all you're using from the microphone. You're just using the high end, the rich low end with depth and all that kind of stuff that you get from a real swell old German microphone.
You mentioned the name is Omni.
Omnidirectional.
Omnidirectional.
That's a type of microphone.
That's a type of microphone.
Right.
Currently in this guitar is a microphone by a company called DPA.
Yeah.
How often in a show are you adjusting these? Do you adjust it for the type of song you're singing?
I could, but I don't. Nah, you know, no, I don't adjust it. You know, I get something that's going to work for. You know, if I'm going into the studio, and I want to get a certain kind of guitar sound for this song, or another kind of sound for this other song, then I'll adjust it. But for on stage, you find the happy medium, because you're going to find while adjusting this thing that some stuff works better. For instance, if you're playing with a band, you're going to find ways to adjust so the guitar cuts a little better. Probably going to use a little more. You might want to cut low end out of it so that you're not getting into a pissing match with your bass player, or that kind of thing.
So how will that work? You have the mic and the bridge pickup separated coming
Yeah.
out of that? So I've got a Martin with Christian electronics that blends them both to the output. Is that still going to add some
You have a
steps
couple
in?
options with that, because there are some systems that put the mic and the piezo on separate conductors on a tip ring sleeve cable, and this accommodates that. There's a TRS
Like
input.
stereo cable.
Yeah, stereo cable, and it just automatically splits.
And that's probably the easiest and least intrusive way of installing the system. By the way,
If I need to just change the.
yeah.
You can also decouple it if it's something internal.
That's what. Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah.
When you put the mic up, that's where you get the.
Yeah. Unless you cut all the low end out, then it's not going to feed back until you get horrendously loud, and then it's going to squeal at you, and then you put the sound hole cover in.
Back in the day, the band used to use vocal microphones that were dual, with a
Yeah.
top and a bottom.
Right.
So are any of the same sonic principles operating in this situation, or is it
No.
different can of worms?
No. Different can of worms.
Thanks for spending time with us today. I was wondering, is there a reason why there aren't dual filter options, or what's the advantage of just having the suite with both of those together?
Well, interesting question. So, Mike and I, McGinn and I, over the years, like 15 years ago, I would run the pickup into one half of a I would run them separately, the mic and the pickup, and we'd run it through EQ and dump all the low end out of the microphone and dump all the high end off the bridge pickup, and we found that you really want them to get right up to each other. You don't want it this far apart, because you're going to miss all that information. If it'd be mid-range information of one sort or another, and you don't want them overlapping, because then you're going to have both the pickup and the microphone's mid-range information is going to get mid-rangey heavy. So the obvious thing to do was to cut them, to have them so that across the audio spectrum, they would trace each other, and one would pick up where the other one dropped off.
For what it's worth, the original prototype that we made for Bob did have independently adjustable crossover points for each filter, as well as the special tracking filter mode. And we realized pretty quickly that the tracking filter was incredible, and having separate knobs stunk. So
It's too much trouble,
we
way
took
too
it
much
out.
trouble.
It's basically, it just lets you hang yourself, because it's almost every sound you can get when they're not perfectly tracking is not flat.
Not what you're going to want.
Well, I don't ask this to suggest. A lot of us have lost over the course of time other bands like yours. Thank you very much for high-end hearing. How are you able at your end, at your age, to be able to adjust the high end of this of the sound spectrum so you're getting exactly what you need?
I can still hear enough.
You can?
Yeah, actually, I've been told that I don't have the kind of hearing loss that a lot of my brethren, my comrades in arms have experienced, but I don't know why that is. Just tough, I guess.
You're using here a Yamaha amp, but on stage you're using Fat Jimmy. What do you find the difference?
Well, the Fat Jimmy is from my electric guitar. I have a little Fat. Usually, when I'm playing an acoustic, if I'm just doing a solo show, I don't use any monitors on stage. I don't use an amplifier on stage.
This is just the PA system.
Yeah, the PA system is just fine for me. I like to hear what everybody else is hearing. Jerry would have loved it. Huh?
Give one to John Mayer for Christmas?
Yep. But they're quite capable of doing that here. Okay. Well, thank you very much for your kind attention.
What do you guys think? Was that all right? How about a big round of applause for Bob? That was so. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to be giving some stuff away if you want. I mean, it's up to you guys. I'll keep it if you don't want. So hang tight for just one quick second.